All right, fam, did you ever realize that there's so much going on in the text that we're reading? This is close reading. This is how it's done. We're reading it, we're thinking about it, we can talk about it. And that is why those of us who really study English, we love it. We love it. We love playing with words. We love seeing the words. If you are struggling with it, that's okay. Because like everything else, the more you practice, it becomes like second nature. So we start practicing this in 6th grade because you guys are going to be such great readers by the time that you graduate from high school, and you're going to be ready to do all of the wonderful things that you want to do in your life. So keep plugging at it. I know it's not the easiest thing, but to some of us it's super, super interesting, and to some of us it's just like practice makes perfect, man. You're going to get this. All right, so this, again, it's part of Brown Girl Dreaming, part of our excerpt that we're reading, and this particular poem the next poem is called Sometimes. And if you haven't figured it out, all of these titles, they connect to what's going on, okay? So, sometimes, wonder what happens sometimes. There's only one other house on our block where a father doesn't live. Okay, so one other where a father doesn't live. So that means our narrator lives without a father. Okay, so that's just what that means. Just translating it. When somebody asks why, and this is the other house, why, the boy says he died. The girl looks off down the block, her thumb slowly rising to her mouth. So we don't know how old she is, but she's sucking her thumb. So I'm going to draw a little pacifier. That's a pacifier. It's perfect. Slowly rising to her mouth, and it slowly, like that's the imagery. Like she's not just like she's thoughtful. She's slow. And the boy says, "I was a baby." Says she doesn't remember him, and points to his silent sister. Okay, so we see that there's maybe grief in this stanza, and we italicize, and usually this is our dialogue, and sometimes poets do that and writers do that. Instead of putting quotation marks around, be more artistic and focus on it, they will say something like this. And I know I'm blocking the screen. Come on, go away, go away, go away, go away. There we go. All right. Sometimes I lie about my father. Ooh, okay. How am I doing all this? Go back away. Okay. So our narrator lies. He died, I say, in a car wreck, or he fell off a roof, or maybe he's coming soon. Next week, next week, next week. Repetition. But if my sister's nearby, she shakes her head. Says, she's making up stories again. Says, we don't have a father anymore. Says, our grandfather's our father now. Says, sometimes that's the way things happen. So, we have a narrator who is maybe having a hard time that her father's not living with her, and so she tells lies. Okay? And we're not going to judge her because we talked about that. Empathy and all of that. We did that lesson last week. So we're not going to judge anybody because they're lying because something is hard. We're going to maybe try to like support them and help them. The sister, she's telling the truth. She's shaking her head. So the sister, then the last stanza in Gifted, we were like, maybe our narrator is frustrated with the sister, but now I'm seeing maybe the sister is also frustrated or sad, because this was kind of a sad one, right? Because sometimes people do have hard things happening in their families. So this is kind of a sad tone. We do have the repetition. Says, we don't have a father anymore. She's making up stories again. Our grandfather's our father now. Sometimes, and that's our title, that's the way things happen. Okay? So, that is our sad little poem. And if I look over here, these are great markings. Mark the words Woodson and her sister say out loud. Okay, and so this, if we wanted to, we can mark those words. I'll put a star by them. These are words that are saying out loud, out loud, out loud. The italicized are what's said out loud. How does this dialogue help you understand the difference between Woodson and her sister? Okay, so that's cool. This is good guiding stuff on the side here that can help you figure out when you see these. It's going to help you figure out what's going on next to it. All right, thank you.